You're listening to Bridge the Gap Season 3, a podcast dedicated to inform, educate, and influence the future of housing and services for seniors. This podcast is powered by supporting partners OneDay, Propel Insurance, Enquire, LTC REIT, the Bridge Group Construction, and Solinity. Learn more at btgvoice.com.
Welcome to Bridge the Gap podcast, the senior living podcast with Josh and Lucas. We are here in Nashville and really excited to talk about season 4. I would never have thought that we would have made it to season 4, but we did.
We did, man. What an exciting journey we've been on together, and with so many partners in the industry, so many great guests. Again, so many episodes. I can't remember now, way over 100 episodes. Thousands of followers and listeners. It's really humbling and a real honor. And I'm so excited to tell our listeners just a little bit about what's coming in season 4, 2021.
Absolutely. And for those that are new listeners, we just want to give you a little bit of context. So almost 3 years ago, Josh and Sarah, our producer, and we sat down and said, okay, what do we want to do? And then more importantly, why do we want to do this? And Josh, through your leadership, you were able to draft up something that brought us all together. And that was our mission statement, that is to educate, inform, and influence. And that's what has been our North Star here at the Bridge the Gap Network, from what it's turned into, is that those are the 3 buckets that we have focused on to try to bring content that's valuable to our listeners and to the senior living industry.
Absolutely. And it's been fun because you and I have learned a lot through the process, because, when we sit down every Monday with a different guest, a different thought leader, some of them are even outside of our industry that have very specific application to us and lead us. So we're able to learn a lot. We don't talk about our day jobs a lot. It's funny, through the last few years, I know for you, it's the same for me, Lucas. Some people think we're full-time podcasters, and that's all we do.
It feels like it sometimes, which is great. It's a lot of fun. I wish we could be.
It really does, but it's been great. The number of people that have just given of their time to make this possible, and I think our listeners sometimes don't realize that, is, a lot of these guests typically get paid a lot of money to really do anything when they're talking to someone, and every single one of our guests has just given of their time to give back to the industry, much like our partners helping provide the content and making it possible.
It's been really validating to get the messages from our listeners that we receive DMs on LinkedIn, other social media sites, and through our website, btgvoice.com, that have come alongside and said, this has been really helpful for me. 2020, everybody knows there's not a single person on the planet that wasn't challenged from 2020. And, we've gotten multiple messages from people that said, you know what, this content has really helped me where I'm at right now. This content has been beneficial to my teams. It's helped us know that we're not alone. Thank you for recognizing the hard work that we've done. And that's kind of stuff has just been really validating. And then you add on the partners that have come alongside of us to say, look, we want to help underwrite this passion project that you guys have. We want to help come alongside of this. We want to be a part of the tide that rises all boats. And that's been really, really fun.
It has been. And on the validation point, the audience has grown, very wide spectrum. It's become international audience, which is just fascinating, to use that word that producer Sarah says I use way too much. But it is very exciting. And it's also affirming some of the universities that have come alongside, and these students that don't really know a lot about our industry but are hungry to learn. And so they're listening and tuning in to the great thought leadership on the show. With that, another exciting thing that has happened is in season 4, we're actually adding an ambassador program. So probably many that are listening right now have actually gotten their application in. I was flattered and again humbled when we put out and said, okay, hey, we're going to have an ambassador program. And I was thinking, okay, realistically, how many people would apply? I never thought we would have to say no to anyone and cut the list off. And so with that said, we hope in the future years to come, we can continue to add more and more ambassadors. But our industry friends will start seeing other people wearing Bridge the Gap swag And those are going to be our ambassadors that will be announced in just the coming weeks. And I couldn't be more excited about that.
Absolutely. And on that ambassador program, Josh, these are things that people will cycle in and cycle out of. And so we encourage our listeners to go to our website, btgvoice.com, and go to the ambassador tab. Take a look at what the offerings are, and how you and take a look at it and see if this is something that you would like to be a part of, and get your application in, because we are reviewing it with everybody and making sure they understand what they're signing up for and the things that they get. And we make it very easy, but we're wanting people to come along and help amplify the voice that is btgvoice.com and the Bridge the Gap network.
And along those lines, back to kind of what our why was. Most people, I think, know this has never been about Josh and Lucas. We don't talk about our day jobs unless people just specifically ask us, and then we're typically reluctant. But along those lines, it's always been about getting the most content out to our listeners, the best quality content out to our listeners, thanks to those that have contributed to that. But we're just wrapping up an awesome first season of Contributor Wednesday. If our listeners haven't checked that out, what that's about is, as you know, there's only so much time that Josh and Lucas can be in front of a mic because we've got other things to take care of as well. But we thought, how in the world could we grow our content and not have to duplicate or clone ourselves? And we came up with this idea of having contributors. So we hand selected, thankfully they said yes, 4 great industry thought leaders in 2020. Lucas, that was really amazing to see how our listens, our downloads, our impressions, and everything just literally doubled almost overnight. And the feedback we have gotten from those great contributors shows is incredible.
Yeah, the creativity that's come out of that, it's I would say it exceeded our expectations. From a macro perspective, it's exactly what we wanted. Diversify the content, add more content, bring on new perspectives from new people in a variety of different positions, and it has just been knocked out of the park. And it's really all contributed to the contributors, and of course our amazing team, Sarah, our producer, and everybody else that's on our team at Bridge the Gap, at our network that helps edit all of that content. And so what people can expect going forward with Contributor Wednesday is we're ramping it up. We're going to continue going down that path. We've got a whole new list of contributors. They're going to be bringing content, new people, new voices, new content to help everybody. And no matter what level that you are in your organization, there's going to be something for you.
Absolutely. And so it's exciting. Can we give them a little teaser and a preview of if they haven't listened yet to the new contributors, the rundown?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's going to be Kara Soletto, David Hopkins, Gerald Cozy, and Christy Cunningham. 4 of the one of the best people in our industry.
And I'm sure when we said those names, light bulbs went off with a lot of people, because these people are already producing amazing content on their own private networks. So thankful again that they've said, you know what, we're going to sit down every week in front of a mic and we're going to record content and just give this to the audience, because we want to pour in. It's not about them, but it is about their thoughts on specific areas. So no matter what you need, what you want to hear, what you want to learn, check out the Wednesday contributors in 2021. It's going to be awesome.
And so in addition to that, of course, to our regular listeners and then to our new listeners, the Josh and Lucas Monday show will continue just as it is. We're going to be adding this Contributor Wednesday series, and then another additional shows that we started at the end of season 3 that we will continue here in season 4 is the Industry Spotlight. And the whole purpose behind the Industry Spotlight was, to our people that have listened to us for a long time, we don't run a bunch of commercials in the middle of our interviews. We don't pepper the beginnings or the ends with long, commercials and stuff like that, which none of that's wrong. It's just never really been a part of our format. We get to the content as quickly as possible. But the truth of the matter is that we wouldn't be able to do this at the level that we do it without our partners. And the fact of the matter is that the partners on our network are people that are bringing valuable products and services specifically to the senior living industry. And we believe that it not only adds value to help bring the content, it adds value to the industry for what they're bringing to the industry themselves.
Absolutely. So the Thursday spotlights, you'll see those drop from time to time throughout season 2021. They're already there. We're already recording them, but it's unashamedly a showcase of awesome spotlights on partners in our industry that have come alongside the industry and said, you know what, valuable. We believe we want to give back. So we want to tell all about what they do. Many times they're on our show and they never even talk about themselves because they're just educating. But this is a show dedicated to them to let our listeners know exactly who they are, what they're about, what product and service they can serve the industry with.
And not only that, Josh, the story behind their why, because these are people. And what we have found, and I think that this is the common thread that really binds everybody in the industry, no matter if you're an operator or a vendor partner to the industry, the common thread here is that there's just a lot of really good people, well-meaning people that have really bought in and subscribed to this idea of doing well by doing good. And it's important that we bring those stories out so that people can understand what their options are when they're looking for products and services.
Yeah, and so basically what we are trying to explain to you that are listening is the journey that we've been on together with you and Bridge the Gap, the senior living podcast, the Josh and Lucas show is now way more shows, way more content. We're actually calling it the Bridge the Gap Network now. You're going to be seeing more content over the coming months and years than you've ever seen. It's your one-stop shop for any content you need in senior housing. And so to find out really all about all of this, to do deep dives, check out the website, btgvoice.com. You can find out, meet our ambassadors, find the applications, learn about our partners, learn about our contributors, look back at any episode that you want to relive, you want to listen to it again, you want to download it, or you missed it. You can find everything you need at btgvoice.com.
You can. And, in season 3, guys, to our listeners, thank you so much. We had over 100,000 downloads on our network. Over 100,000 downloads in one season. Our videos all time have been viewed hundreds of thousands of times. Josh, the Bridge the Gap Network, this is the largest library of digital content related to senior living that's ever been produced. And we put out content 365 days a year on our social media sites in a variety of forms: written posts, graphics, videos, small clips, long clips, audio clips, video clips, any way that you can consume what we are bringing to you from an educational influence and information perspective. We're bringing it to you in multiple variety of forms.
And not only that, but our listeners can get on our newsletter. We have a huge database that we inform our listeners on where we're going to be. And as we kind of break out of this era of not being able to gather socially as we have been, we just recently had an awesome time with a few of our close friends gathering socially distanced, but gathering in person. And it was so much fun. It was so refreshing. So we're looking forward to those times in the coming months where we're going to be visiting places again. We're going to be visiting regions of the country. We would love to have our listeners and our partners and industry leaders gather together in small groups and have some more face-to-face time.
Season 4 is going to bring a lot of new content and some really exciting changes so that we can meet these challenges. Thank you for everybody that has followed us, that follows us on social, that downloads our content. We really do appreciate that. And we are excited about what 2021 is going to bring. And you know what, Josh, let's do it together. We're in this together. We are going to be alongside you, and we want to stay connected with you. So send us a message, go to btgvoice.com, and you can connect to all of our social media sites. You can send us a message there and get all of our content. So thanks for listening to another great episode of Bridge the Gap.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bridge the Gap, the Senior Living Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so visit btgvoice.com for all things about the podcast. Powered by supporting partners OneDay, Propel Insurance, Enquire, LTC REIT, The Bridge Group Construction, and Solinity.